the kingdom can turn around. We're lighting up the night, shaking up the ground. Excuses and flames, yeah, we're breaking free. We'll be fire, this is our legacy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the One Big Fire. Hello, Mr. Jay Kinder.
Hello, Mr. Albie Stasic. How are you today?
Man, I'm been really focusing on the try not to eat too much, saving some room for this big festivities this week, and stuffing our faces with lots of carbs and all that stuff. I got to tell you, dude, the peptide thing's been good. For me, I love to eat. I don't want to take anything that's gonna not want me to eat, but this Retatrutide, what it's done is and I, if I can't feel it, I don't know that it's working. So the first couple of weeks, I was like, man, I don't feel anything. Well, come to find out, I wasn't taking enough. So I upped it a little bit, and my appetite didn't disappear, but I eat half of what I would normally eat. So I DoorDash something. I would normally just eat the whole thing and feel like crap, the rest of the night. And I typically eat later at night. I think you guys do too.
Yeah.
And now I'm eating half, putting half in for lunch the next day. So I'm ready for Thanksgiving, man. How about you?
Yeah, man. Same. Lots to be thankful for this week, is always a reminder of being thankful for the things that we have in our lives. And so always a good time to reflect. As far as I'm on the tirzepatide. So if you kind of slowly move into that at a certain amount. If you take too much, man, it makes you real sleepy. I hate that feeling. But I'm on a kind of normalized dose at this point, but I don't know. It's been fantastic. I feel great. That, and dude, I've been taking, Amber bought this. I don't know where she got it, but I've been taking this, the RHO NAD. So I used to do the shots.
Yeah.
But like my skin tone is better. Like I feel better, it's great, man. I can tell a difference with that. And that's, a lot of this stuff, you can't take it because it doesn't absorb the way it absorbs in the stomach. Something doesn't work or whatever. So there's a lot of these that don't work, but this one is one that's made for taking it, ingesting it instead of the shot. And so
I have that too. I actually, Courtney got the 3 bottles. So I got the NAD, and then dude, I can't even pronounce the other stuff, but I just put it right in my water every day.
Me too.
And mix it right in. But yeah, I was actually about to switch over to the injectable NAD because I heard that, that it's better for, your body kind of like absorbing it. But maybe I just stick this, hey, one less needle in my belly.
Yeah, dude, I got tired of the needles. But this, I don't even know what brand. This is probably what Gary Brecka suggests.
I think it is. Yeah. Well, it's good, man. Hey, feeling good.
Feels great.
Good to feel good.
Yeah, man. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, man. So we got all really stuff blowing up here. I was actually just looking for my comment with Jared James, and I'm looking at it, and there was no reply. He didn't reply back to me yet, but the Zillow lawsuit. This thing just seems to be, when I'm looking at it and I'm seeing the comments and what a lot of people are saying. And I'd love your opinion on this because I'm just not connecting the dots. But I mean, in today where we're living in this world of litigation, it just seems like it's growing like a cancer more and more. And I don't see it slowing down. I see it, in fact, getting worse. And I'm not a pessimist. I'm the eternal optimist. But the truth is, the attorneys are smelling blood, and they're all over the real estate industry. Like a dog on a fresh steak. They're just all over it. And with the Zillow thing, they're with the mega flex teams, basically blatantly saying like, look, and they're not even shy about it. The Zillow reps are coming in. They're like, yeah, I know we're getting sued. We don't care. We need 30%. If you're on flex, we want 30% of the loans that are coming through on these deals to be done by Zillow Loans. And they're not even shy about it. I mean, it's in writing, it's everything like this. Here's where my question is. How a lot of people are saying, oh, the agents on Zillow Flex could get roped into this lawsuit in the class action because they're steering, they could be accused of steering towards Zillow Home Loans. Now, the word steering is not, I don't think that the word steering is being used in the correct context. We've been referring to mortgage brokers for decades. That's nothing new. The proper way to do it is to say, okay, client, here are your options. You got, loan company A and B. And sometimes they say, if you want to be extra squeaky clean, go A, B, and C. Here are the referrals. Choose what you want. That would be probably the cleanest way to do it.
Right.
We know 95% of real estate agents don't do that. 95% have their favorite lender. Why? Because they get it across the finish line. They give great service. The fees aren't out of control. They're basically fulfilling their fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the client's getting, an opportunity for the best deal when they're borrowing money. Where I don't understand how that they're going to be able to come after the Zillow guys or the Zillow Flex team leaders is because every single one I know that has a Flex team, they have other lenders they use. Not almost every single one of them. There's this battle.
Hey, none of them using Zillow because they want to.
They're doing it because they have to. So I could see where there'd be friction there. I'm not seeing where they could be held liable if they're giving options to these borrowers and saying, hey, we use this company. Here's Zillow Flex Loans. They're giving them options. I don't see. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think precedents DOJ is set is they're going to decouple. I mean, they're going to force them to separate entities. I think it's absolute. I mean, if I was Zillow, I would want to do the same thing. I would want to have the opportunity to pitch the loan. At the end of the day, it's real clear, and anybody who's renting their future from Zillow should be just aware that you're renting it because they're going to try to win the consumer. If that's where you get your business, you are at risk, the highest at risk. They're going to take that business from you eventually. They're taking as much as they can already. But as far as legally, I don't know how they can legally, they can't legally tie the lead to the loan. That's going to happen.
No, they can't legally tie the lead to the loan. But what they're doing is they're expecting a certain capture rate. And we know that even cross-country mortgage, stepped into a giant turd pile recently because they got, there was evidence in there that said that they were like, hey, if you don't get me X amount of capture rate, we're going to take we're not going to, pay half of your ad spend. And that's a no. You can't do that. And so there's obviously litigation around that. And now there's the Zillow thing, which is even bigger. So, my question though comes to, as long as you're giving from an agent standpoint, from a broker, if you're a team leader out there and you're participating in this, and the only reason that you're giving Zillow a shot at it is because you so to speak have to, I'm drawing a disconnect as to how they could be held legally liable. I don't know. I'm not seeing that. I can see where Zillow, and obviously they have a lot of money, very powerful, a lot of money. It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to wiggle out of this in a settlement. Everybody's kind of digging their heels in, and so we'll see how it ends up.
They'll probably settle so they don't have to do discovery. If you get discovery, it's going to be real. Yeah, the algorithm is this many leads go to this agent because they did this many loans with us, like that. At the end of the day, it's real simple. If you're on Zillow, it's not predictable. You're not in control of your business, and it's subject at risk. It's coming. You have to diversify where you get your business from, or you're going to take a massive hit at some point, or it might be a small, but you're going to take it.
You've been saying this for years. If you're building your business on the foundation of Zillow, you're in trouble, because since it came out, dude, do you remember when Zillow first came out, when no one knew what it was? It was sometime around 2000. I want to say it was right around like 2008 or 9, I want to say. Reason I believe that is we were in the middle of a shitstorm of the real estate collapse. I was doing short sales, and my buddy with Remax was like, dude, have you ever heard of Zillow? These leads are like gold and they're cheap. Since then, we're almost going on 2 decades of Zillow. Since then, they've changed their model probably a dozen different times.
Yeah.
Every time they change it, it's in their favor and taking more money out of the agent's pocket. And it ain't stopping,
Nope.
So, we do have a solution for that, Jay.
Man. I mean, at the end of the day, this is imagine. I mean, nobody tells you this when you get into real estate, but if you learn how to acquire a customer, Zillow just has the traffic. How do you get the traffic to your offer? And how do you hit, if you can do that, which we know how to do that at a super low cost, $3 to $5 cost per lead, then you control the customer acquisition process, and you can turn the volume up, you can turn the volume down, but you have no choice. Or you could just be beholden to Zillow, the Zillow monster. That's what you want. I mean, I don't think any agent or team leader really wants to do it. I feel like they're like, man, they don't have the skill, so they don't know who to turn to. Every platform out there is selling garbage, so nobody really actually knows marketing. Like, tell me one provider out there that actually understands the strategic nature of targeting an ideal client profile for a specific property, and how to generate that lead and convert that lead and build content that's valuable for that. Nobody does it. No, I don't know anybody that does it. And so, fortunately for me, I think, I wasn't trying to learn this for real estate. I was learning it for how to sell things to real estate agents. And as I got in the room with people like Frank Kern and Dan Kennedy and Jay Abraham and learned from the masters of marketing, I learned those skills that translate very well to, understanding the customer profile. Who's buying right now in your marketplace right now? Who are they and why? I know what they are in Frisco. There are people that want to leave Carrollton in the colony and they want to move to Frisco to get their kids in Frisco school district. And there are people leaving California, Washington, and Oregon, and they got a tech job at either at Toyota or Dr. Pepper Keurig. And those people are real buyers. They're real buyers right now. The most likely person to buy at this particular price point in this particular segment of the market. Now you go market to those people. Like, it's not rocket science, but I think most people get stuck in the implementation, and you log into your ad manager and you're like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't. That's why I have a team. But yeah, but once you have that, how much are you spending right now? Like, how much are they spending? You remember we used to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, I know teams that, I haven't seen their P&Ls, but I've heard $60,000 a month on Zillow. Man, you are out of your mind. If you understood marketing, you would never do that. And I think it's because they don't see on their P&Ls the cost to acquire a customer. That referral fee that goes out doesn't show up on your P&Ls if you even look at them. But if you did, your cost to acquire a customer doesn't work. It's too high. And if you could acquire,
let's break this down. This is what we say when we say start with the math. So let's do the math.
Right.
Zillow. And let's just use a modest $10,000 commission check. Okay. Cost to acquire customer with
$4,100
versus our strategy.
Yeah. $4,100. 41%. Zillow Flex, whatever their program is that they're putting people on. 41% is $4,100. So you're saying I would rather Zillow give me that lead for $4,100 than me go out and generate that lead. Now, there's the good argument you could say as well. They give me just more than one. You pay $4,100. You have some leads that don't sell and some that do, but you're only paying $4,100 on the one that does close. Okay, well, then as a cost per lead, you could divide that into your amount of closings and how much you paid Zillow by the number of leads you got from them, and your cost per lead is going to be really high. It's going to be, I would say, 800, 500, 200. It's going to be a lot cost per lead.
Yeah.
So if you can simply solve for how do I generate a lead at a low enough cost, then you can replace that as a lead source. And that's all we're doing. Like we're leveraging AI to lower the customer acquisition cost for an agent. And that's fundamentally all we're doing. It's not, like I said, it's not rocket science. It isn't easy by any stretch to know how to do those things.
That actually gets into my next question. So why it's not complex, because anybody can do that simple math. My next question, which you just answered, is why isn't everyone doing it? Why is everyone so addicted? Literally, like they're on an, I hate to say this, but like they're on a drug that they can't get off of, that Zillow, that opium hit, or whatever you want to call the Zillow. And I know that because I had Zillow leads back when I had my team, but they're getting this. So they're so far down in the funnel, meaning that translates it's easier.
I got you. Yeah.
It's easier. They don't have to work the lead, follow up with the lead, get them warmed up for maybe 3-4 months, whatever, before they become an actual commission check. These people are typically ready to go.
Nah, that's not true though. I mean, I talk to people every day using Zillow, and they're not all. I think they're taking that same traffic of eyeballs that you could generate yourself. That, let's say we generate 100 leads on a $3 ad spend. That a $3 per cost per lead. That's $300 ad spend to generate 100 leads. What they're doing is they're figuring out the ones that aren't real, and they're just not giving them to you. And they're only giving you the better ones through their algorithm that they've determined that this one is better. And not always better. They're not always ready to buy right away. A lot of people will tell you, I'm getting these leads and they're not that great. And so it's not a perfect science. It's not like they're qualifying. And sometimes they do, right? They had the call center, make the call, qualified, handoff or whatever. But you know what I think might be part of it, Al? I think that because Zillow is managing this like a business, and they're trying to optimize who's going to close the most and who's going to bring the most loan. They're trying to monetize all of this traffic that they built all these years, hundreds of millions of dollars. They got all these eyeballs. How do we make sure we get the throughput of the most dollars back to Zillow? So they're managing the agent like a good team leader would manage their agents if they were spending their own money, right? And so I think part of it is these team leaders that probably shouldn't have gotten to the team leader stage, that they did a good job because they're really good. And then it's like they started hiring a few agents, and now they got plugged into Zillow, and they're like, man, that agent's really good. But does that make them a good manager and leader of other agents? Does that make them a good team leader? Probably not in all cases. And so a lot of those agents that are, now they got 10 agents on their team, and they're Zillow Flex, and their numbers are going up, and here they are on stage getting their awards, but they had no business actually building a team. And they built it on this super fragile house of glass, a pillar of glass that could disappear tomorrow. I think there's a lot of people that built teams that are not profitable and are wishing they hadn't, and are looking for alternatives. If they're smart, that's what they're doing. But I think does that make sense? Maybe I think that
it makes total sense. And what it boils down to is it's kind of it's a mirage that's being created. But let's go back to the math. So let's say that it costs $4,100 to close that same lead with Zillow. Now, there's no out-of-pocket cost, so there's some value to that because you're paying on the back end versus the front end. We get that. This, you may have to invest a little bit on the front end. Let's say $300 a month. Now, the leads that we're getting are today, because of the way we're leveraging AI and getting real granular on the audience that we're running our ads to, we have high-quality leads coming in. These are not the bottom of the barrel home evaluation leads that we used to run back in 2016, 2017, right? We were playing that game.
Yep.
Different game, different time, place. We have AI right now that most don't even understand how to leverage AI beyond asking ChatGPT a couple questions about what peptide to use. We're using this to create an audience that's so spot on directed, like a laser beaming in to like what you were using the Frisco. I know you always that's where you guys live, in Frisco. You're an expert at who's moving into there. Therefore, we can use and leverage AI to target those people with our ads. Now, it's still a $3 per lead. So let's play this out. After 1 month, 100 leads coming in. Our least skilled agents that are using Funnel Pilot right now are closing about 2% of those. Some of them are closing 3-4%. That's 3 to 4 deals. Let's just look at the modest two. They're closing at 2%. They paid $300 for the month of leads. So let's just say that for those two that their cost to acquire each of those those closings was $150 each.
Yep.
Now, it's just getting better. The quality of our leads that we've been tracking over the last 9 months, the quality just keeps going up because our tool, that the way we're using the AI to really, really pinpoint into this audience, the quality of the leads keep going up, which is why we're seeing people go from 1% conversion to 2 to 3 to 4% conversion. When you're playing a game, and we are playing a game, your competition's paying $4,000 to acquire that customer, and you're paying $150. I mean, just do the math. So exponentially, do you have to follow up a little bit more? Yes, but we have AI agents who are now stepping in and even doing a lot of that heavy lifting. You still have to call the lead. You still have to have a conversation. You still have to have the skills to be to build trust, authority. That's not going to go away. But because we've, really you have cracked the code on how to use AI effectively, not just asking it, for new recipes for this Thanksgiving dinner, I'm talking, how can we use it to build our business? No one can compete with what we're doing right now.
No,
and
they can't.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, and this is where I was wrong about AI the most. I thought everybody was going to do what we do. I use it for everything. And so I thought, well, everybody's going to figure this out. And that's not natural. I'm not normal, apparently. But it's how do we leverage these chat GPT workflows to create a done for you solution so you don't have to learn everything about AI. That's where the game is getting. That's where we're winning the game. And the fact that we can do all of this at scale much more effectively and efficiently just makes it just gets better and better. And so all we're doing is we're leveraging AI to lower the customer acquisition cost for you as an agent, as a team. That's just more profit for you. It makes your team you can monetize it however you want. You could still have your team lead. You could treat this like Zillow. Hey, I'm going to give you this access to this funnel and these leads. And you're on a 41% has to go back to the company. And then you're on a 50-50, whatever that is, 31% they actually get. I don't think that's what you should do, but that's what you could do. So you can monetize it differently, but yeah, it's significantly more efficient and we can do it so much easier than the way we had to do it before we had these workflows. The other piece of this that's fun is, when you have a volume of leads, you don't know who's buying right now or not. And so the automations that we have in place can bubble up conversations to find out, get the contacted rate up. If you're at 30% contacted rate, we feel like whether that's respond to the automations in text or your phone call efforts when the lead comes in, or the behavioral alerts over time as they come back to the website and there are still 70 people you didn't speak to this month, but all of a sudden they come back 2 months from now and the automation sends a text and now you're in a conversation with a lead that came in month 1. And that one's ready to do business. So over time, it just gets better. Well, and it's not just chase. The strategy has to be, now we know who these people are. We know what their hopes, fears, concerns, desires are about in the marketplace. Now let's create some content that's relevant to exactly what they're trying to do so that you're positioned as an expert. All of this hinges on everything you do moving forward, hinges on your ability to articulate your value proposition as to why someone should hire you and how you're going to help save them money and get them the best possible deal. And so most agents don't have a value proposition, but if somebody it's like a tuning fork, like if the video that goes out that I shoot, it says the top 3 things that you should know about Frisco School District before you ever put your kids in school here, from a parent that knows, dude, every one of those people that are really doing now, again, out of 100, maybe only 25 of those people are in that scenario. I don't care about the 75. If I got 25 people that watch that video, they're way more likely to respond to a call, text, or email in the future from me. They know who I am now, and they see me as the guide as to what they're trying to do. And that is effectively, that is building trust through marketing. I think that's a lost art people don't understand, but it's not about creating content and putting it on the internet for the algorithm gods to show it to people. Like, let's identify who's actually going to most likely buy, what keeps them up at night, and how do I help them, strategy of preeminence, actually help them with what their biggest hopes, fears, concerns, desires are, so that thing that they talk about at the dinner table is now, oh my gosh, this person gets me. That's exactly what we're struggling with. That's exactly what we're trying to figure out. That's how you over the long term, you build a moat around these leads you're generating that is defensible. Now you can't these people now look at you as the guide, and they know who you are. You can put any agent in that seat to take that lead. They're coming to you. And so that's just, it's a deeper strategy than I think most people ever think about doing. And then, the implementation of all this is also key. But yeah, it's just, I enjoy it. It's fun, man. Like that, this is the stuff I geek out on, right? Like,
I don't know why. And maybe it is just because we're in the season of our life right now. I mean, I've always found this fun. I feel like it's getting more fun.
Yeah.
And maybe that has to do with how our minds are expanding, like the blue pill with being able to use ChatGPT and AI to really, it's like we were talking before we went live here about a property I just bought, and we want to talk about cost seg. And I was watching YouTube, and you're like, what are you doing, dude? Punch it into your ChatGPT. And I'm on ChatGPT 20 times a day. I don't know why I didn't think of going there first, because I was always thinking of going to YouTube first. But back to content. Here's where it's fun. If you're an agent and you're probably in business planning right now, and here's the cool thing: like if you're trying to double your business next year, and many agents they're trying to dig themselves out of a hole and get back to where they were in 2021. Cool, wherever you're at, there's only a few things that you actually have to nail. One of them we talked about was the lead generation. You got to have a way of generating low cost leads. And you need to be able to do it consistently, not just, oh, maybe I'll get 20 this week, but I'm only going to get 5 next week. Like, that's what you would get. Like if you ran a referral only business, you have to have a consistent top of funnel that's filling your pipeline. That's just the only way to grow and double your business. Number 2, you got to know how to convert them. We'll talk about that. It's a coaching thing. If you don't, you got to, you could log in, and we that's what we do every single week. I think we're up to like 6 different coaching on different programs every single week that costs our agents nothing. The last 2 pieces, and you just touched on it, was content. And I think it's the number one thing. Like a lot of people set out and say, I'm going to grow my YouTube channel. I'm going to put more content out this year. And they just don't understand how to do it, or they have a fear. And the fear that they have is, I don't know if it's going to be any good. And is it going to really build my business? And you actually just touched on it. And I want to go deeper on it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, the way that we are using this in a coaching, it's not even coaching, it's done for you. Like, we're creating content that's copy paste post it, and it has to complement your lead generation strategy. So, for instance, the content, someone said this, it might have been Mike Reese, I don't remember. It's like, I think it was we were actually on somewhere in the Caribbean, and we were having a late night, cocktail. It was late night. And he looks at me and goes, dude, there's content around you everywhere you look, 24/7, 365. You need to know what you're looking for. It's not luck. You just need to know what you're looking for. So for instance, the Feds are ending quantitative tightening on December 1st. What does that mean? Well, if you're an agent and you're serious and you're putting your expert hat on, and I'm a real estate expert, you better know what that means. And you better know how to talk to your client. Better than that, you better know how to speak to your audience in an intelligent way. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't know. Well, cool. Go get ChatGPT for $19 a month, and it will tell you. It'll be your expert on the side of your shoulder here, and it'll even lay out what the strategy for what you put on. But you got to be able to connect that to the source, instead of like saying, I'm going to sit down and call 50 of my clients and tell them that, hey, if you're on the fence about buying, you might want to buy now, refinance later when the rates go down, because once the rates go down, the prices go up. Everybody knows that, right? I mean, we know that, but your clients don't know it. So how do you kind of go into how our strategy with Jeff Gianni and how we're coaching our agents as it relates to using this AI to just put out better content that's actually
100%.
putting commissions. Yeah.
Yeah, you ask ChatGPT to give you the script, and then you give it exactly that. I mean, that's it. Every time we explain this, people are like, "This makes a lot of sense," right? But it's the execution of all this, like the fact that there's steps involved where we're using a workflow that goes into ChatGPT and does this, and then comes back, gives us what we're looking for, and then a couple steps later, we're like, "Okay, now based on that, give us this." And then now give me the email sequences, the email sequence, follow-up sequences to drive to that. And it gives you the YouTube keywords for putting it on YouTube. It gives you everything. So the figuring out of this is done. It's just a matter of the execution. So we're 90 days away. And I've said that for what feels like a month now, 2 months now, but it's probably been only 2 weeks. I'm like, we probably could have an AI version of you have that content done, and literally in the sequences all done. You don't ever touch it, and people would actually think it's you. Like, I was telling a story of that post that I made a few weeks ago on the, it was a month ago, I guess now, on the anniversary 8 years at EXP. And Kiani sent me, he sent me a video, which I know I didn't shoot, but it was me saying word for word what I posted. And he shared it with other people, and they thought it was me. Now, I know I didn't shoot the video, so I knew it wasn't me. And you could find little things that are like, it's a little bit probably not me. But it was better than not doing the video. I can tell. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would rather see an AI version of you do the video and have that content being out there, and your face being out there, and your brand being out there to make that connection. If you're not going to shoot the video, and so again, I think AI is just allowing us to execute on your behalf much more dialed in. Like what's the, like, think about how many times have you read a book, read something, and how many books have you read in marketing? Hook, story, offer. Like how many thousands of hours have you put into learning marketing over the years, right? And even still to this day, if something new comes out, I'm devouring it, and I'm like, man, I like the way they just explained that. I've been missing that, right? Same here. I got the same book. And so you go, like you recently hit me up with a text that you were listening to the, I don't remember which part of the book it was, but it was, and doing webinars, the importance of, hey, getting people to stay and watch the video. Or it's the same principle for content, that if you give them something really valuable at the end, they'll listen and watch your whole video. That's very important to understand if you're a marketer. If you're going to put content out and you put something really valuable that they would want at the end, they're going to watch a few minutes of your video, and they're going to probably be more likely to connect with you on what you're saying instead of skipping and scrolling. These are all marketing principles that you spend thousands and thousands of hours learning and learning it. Now we can just put that right into ChatGPT and give it back to you exactly the way you should do it without you having to go through the thousands of hours of learning. That's the brilliance in leveraging AI workflows to do this stuff. Is, it knows that what we're trying to do if you prompt it right. And so very cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the biggest things that stop people from shooting video, we joke about this all the time, but it's the dead truth, is they don't like how they look and sound on the video. But we walk around 24 hours a day, 365 days a week, and this is how we look and sound to everybody else. So you might as well get over that. But let's say you can't get over it. And that's the excuse you've been leaning on for years. I get it. Sheplack said, hey, my shitty video is going to outperform your non-existing one. Well, now today, your AI video is going to outperform by thousands X your non-existent video, and you don't even have to worry about how you sound or look, because you can kind of tweak that to make your voice sound like Brad Pitt if you wanted to, or whatever, McConaughey, or not that you want to make it fake, you want it to be real, but now you just don't have the excuse. In fact, you probably do still have an excuse. Your excuse is, well, I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to do it. I'm comfortable. Yeah, I'm still uncomfortable with it. This is why our team, our national team, we just do it for them. Now they still got to hit the click. There is still that one thing that they
for the time being, you have to do that. But that's coming to an end.
Dude, I don't know if I told you about it. This is how my eyes were open to it. So John Maroney, right? So John, he's one of your top sales guys on AEA. Yeah. I was scrolling, right? and I don't really scroll that often. I'm just too damn busy to scroll, but this one stopped me. I see John Maroney on a stage playing guitar, singing like he's John Mayer up there. And there's all these people cheering. And dude, I was fooled because it looked exactly like him. And I'm so embarrassed, dude, because I sent him a message. I go, bro, I didn't even know you were a musician. He got me. Like, it was so real. He was doing an acoustic solo. I think he was like kind of singing a Christian song or something. And I was like, damn, bro. I didn't even know you sang. I was so full. And he goes, bro. And he told me the name of the app, and I don't remember what it was. And that's where it was for me, where I was just like, wow. And we're seeing all these goofy videos that are coming out. And the first thing that what our minds are being trained to do right now is like say, okay, is this real or AI? When you're seeing a video that's like two animals fighting or it's, whatever,
Right.
someone saving something, the first thought is this real or is this AI?
Right.
My question to you is, in 3 years, are we still going to be asking that question? Like,
No.
It's going in this other direction, and
Not in 3 years, no.
Not in 3 years. I don't think that's the question that we're going to start asking. Is like, okay, is this real or AI? Because there might be just an assumption that it's all AI.
Yeah.
Is that good? Is that bad?
People don't, man. Let me tell you. So let me tell you what when you got a big enough problem, okay? When an agent is like struggling and they're trying to figure all this stuff out, like, God dang, man, I got to figure out, I got to sell more than I'm selling. And they start seeking, right? They're looking for solutions. They're watching webinar. They're doing all this. Like, when you got a big enough problem you're trying to figure out, and this goes back to like, this is 101. If you don't understand who your ideal customer is and what problems they have, then you cannot possibly help them. And you certainly can't market to them because you don't even know who you're trying to talk to. And so I know how to talk to an agent that has a problem with growing their business at such a deep level of understanding of their frustrations that I can create really good marketing to attract them to solve that problem in a way that I can help them and not charge them anything. It's very simple. This is how we recruit to EXP. But the consumer situation, like you're talking about, the quantitative tightening and what that means. And if you don't know what that means and how to communicate, if you can communicate a message to the consumer about their biggest problem, man, I've got this house. I want to get my kids over here in this school district. He's going to be in middle school next year. This is the year to do it. I don't know if I should do it now or what. Like, when you really understand what's keeping them up at night and you can communicate information that helps get them to clarity, you are going to make a connection with them, and they're going to be like, that is what I needed to know. That's exactly that person is going to want to do business with you. This comes down to being an expert, and the cool thing is, where this stuff was hard before to learn everything you needed to learn, man, when you get the scripts that we send back to people, when I read through them, I'm like, dang, man, I didn't even know this, right? Like, there's things that you're going to learn. You're like, oh, that's a loan program I didn't even know about. I need to learn more about that. Tell me more about this loan program. That is okay. So if they could qualify for that if they're this. And so there's all of these things that and if you understand this is what I say, the conversation that goes on at the dinner table, the thing that they're most concerned about in making this move, when you can really understand who you're trying to talk to and stop trying to talk to everybody and just talk to that one person about that thing that's bothering them the most and educate them to get them to clarity. That is what good content is. And that's what good marketing does. And so, it's not that it all makes sense, right? It's like nobody's listening to this going, man, they're brilliant. What they're saying is so smart. Duh, right? Like, this is like, yeah, we should probably know that. But if you don't ever get clear on, and this is where ChatGPT has been extremely valuable. I have an idea of who I think's buying right now. Okay. And so, like, in every market now, I've been on calls with agents in every possible scenario you can imagine. The bum Egypt out in the middle of nowhere where there's nothing really going on. And the people that are buying there are, local people that, that are sitting on 3% interest rates. And where's the buyers coming from? Oh, they're bleeding over from this city because they want to get their kids over there in that school. There's all these scenarios. New Jersey, people leaving the boroughs of New York and coming down. What's on their mind? What's making them make this move? What do they love about it? What are they concerned about? All of these, like every scenario is different because in every market, the actual people that have to move right now, we didn't get into this, but the housing demand and the fact that the jobs are half of what they were, the new jobs reports half of what it was last year. There's less people moving from jobs. Like that's why it feels like you're walking up a hill trying to find deals. All of these things play into it, but there are some people that are moving, and who are they? And when you ask that right question, ChatGPT is dialed in. It knows the answer to that. And that's, now you know who to talk to. And I think most people don't even ask that question. But if you don't ask that question, then you're never going to be, have that lack of that level of clarity, and everybody I talk to has some idea, right? Like even the things that it told me about Frisco, and I'm not actively selling, but I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense. I live here for the school district. That's why we moved here. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Knew those two big, tech companies were here. I'm sure they were hiring, didn't know, oh yeah, what people tell me as they go through this, what the last buyer I talked to was just the same situation. They moved here from Washington and they got a tech job at Toyota or whatever. Right. Like that lack of, like, we probably wouldn't have ran down this rabbit hole as deep as we did if we didn't know that it was right information. Right. You'd be like, yeah, it might be those people, but maybe there's a whole bunch of other people too. I don't know. Like you don't like really dial into that unless and then you're like, okay, if that's the two biggest buyer segments that are actually buying right now, let's talk to them. Or if it's a seller that's selling, why are they selling right now in this marketplace? What's the message what's their big hopes, fears, concerns, desires? How do I market to them? Like all of that information is so valuable. And I think again, we're talking about some real estate agents are used to paying Zillow a shit ton of money and just a lead pops into their phone. And that's, that is essentially, that's without learning this skill of the conversation that we're having here today, that is, you are going to become extinct. You're going to become extinct. You're not going to survive because you have to be more valuable. The decoupling that, the lawsuit that we had, there's still agents out there pretending like, well, this is how we've always done it. Calling agents, putting it on the sign that 3% commission, co-broke offer, that shit's going to come to an end. You're going to have to be able to articulate your value. And if you don't commit to that, you will be out of the business. That's the facts. So, you make a choice. I become an expert, learn how to negotiate and articulate my value proposition to both a buyer and a seller as to why someone should hire me, or you're going to be out of the industry in the next 5 years. Like it's just as simple as that. And so
let's talk about the 5 years. I mean, we kind of answered a lot of like the question, because the question I wanted to ask you was, over the next 5 years, there's going to be two types of agents. They're either they're going to just double. They're going to start taking over and dominating where they're at, or they're out. I'm assuming if you have a real estate license and you have a desire to grow, you're an agent who wants to grow over the next 5 years. That's why you're watching this. You wouldn't be watching if it wasn't. We're here to give you the handles of the luggage. So we gave you a lot right now, but kind of touching on where you were at right now, Jay, like where do they start? Right. You got to be an expert. So let's just, when you were talking, it reminded me when I really focused on my content game back in 2016. I actually hired Shep Black, and he was really helpful in kind of making me understand the theory of deposits and you can't expect to withdraw from a bank account unless you continuously put deposits in, and you have to put more deposits than you make withdrawals. Easy, right? Same thing with content, but people still get stuck. For me, in order to be an expert, a market expert, what do we have to do? We had to go into Google, search statistics. Then we had to go into our MLS, search more statistics, try to mush them all together. And if you think about where the world we're in if you're not using AI right now to do that, you're so far behind because of collapsing time. You're not collapsing time. What you're doing is you're doing things how we did in 2016, where Jay, my team, our team, we're doing things for 2026 right now, and we're coming up with not only better content, but in a fraction of a time. But getting started, let's talk about that, and really kind of digging into what's an agent to do if they want to get started on this?
Yeah, dude. It gets me so daggum excited. Like, there's so much you can do when you understand marketing. I think the first here's my philosophy on where you start. My philosophy on where you start is go to Chat GPT and search who are the most what is the price point in the cities I live in. So I'm like Plano, Frisco, McKinney, Little Elm, the Colony, Prosper, Salina, let's say. So like that's all 15, 20 minutes of around me, pretty much all the cities. One city's probably doing better than the other. You could go in the MLS and figure this out pretty quickly, but I would say, what is the price point that's that has the most volume of turnover, sales, and the most volume of people searching and most demand? And I would start there. And the reason I would start there, because a lot of people hear all this and they say, oh man, there's this one niche I want to go after that I could really help. And they're this or that, or single moms, or this, they're all these different ideas. Well, yeah, but if there's not enough search volume in that price point and in that niche, then you're not going to have enough people to show your content to. So you want to start with, where is the sweet spot in the marketplace where there's the most volume and the most opportunity, because that's going to be the lowest lead cost and it's going to be the highest volume. And we're going to be able to have enough conversations to get to a sale fast. And again, getting to a sale fast is pretty eminently the most important thing in terms of all of this, because if you don't get to a sale fast, you're going to turn the marketing budget off. So just knowing that getting to the sale fast is going to be based upon where the sweet spot is in the market. Once you know that, now based on that property, this property address, this location, what is the most likely person to purchase this home? And what are the characteristics and their situation that of the buyers that are most likely to buy this over in the next 6 months that I should be targeting in terms of my audience? And it's going to give you more than you ask for. Cause like, I've just noticed that like, sometimes like, somebody texted me today because I made a post about how I took my investing deal and I ran it through Chat GPT and it spit it back out with the funniest damn reply I've ever seen. Like, the deal was so bad, it pissed off Chat GPT. It was like, I told you about it at the beginning, but I'll say it here. It's like, at the end of this, it said, if you'd like for me, what it said, if anybody else wants you to fund their $5 million dreams, I'm happy to be the bouncer at the door. Like, that's how Chat GPT was like, this is such a terrible deal. I can't even believe you made me look at it. And so it was just funny, but like I had posted that because I had never done it before. It's just one of those things, just like you had an aha today too. Like, I had never actually, I said like, man, I can read through all this, but Chat GPT is going to give me a better, quicker analysis. And I can, I can ask it any questions after that anyway. And I wasn't going to invest in this deal, but I did at the surface sniff test feel like it was a terrible deal, but it gave me the context. And so, the guy that sent it to me, I sent it back everything Chat GPT said. I said, listen, you're not going to like reading this, but I probably won't be the only one that puts this through the Chat GPT ringer. And so you could probably take from this and create a better model for what you're trying to do. But for, as far as obviously, I wouldn't be interested in investing in it the way it is, but this is good for you to look at and maybe make some changes if you want to, or whatever. I don't remember why I was even making that point. I went down a rabbit hole. Where was we going with that?
Like how to get started. And I think like, yeah. Here's what I'm interpreting from what you're saying. In getting started, you have to change your paradigm. The paradigm has to start to be, how much are you going to increase your usage of AI to make decisions? When we used to coach people, you remember one of the first things we used to say, like to a new coaching client, they come, they give the credit card, we swipe it, we have our first coaching call with them. The first thing we say is, hey, make me your CFO of your business. Don't go buying anything. Don't go by doing it and making any big decisions without running it through me first. Here's the cool thing. You don't have to pay a coach $1,500 anymore a month to be able to increase the number of decisions you're making in your business. You could be making them in an exponential amount. What's the phrase Mike used to always say? Increase the number of decisions that you make on a daily basis.
Yep.
You'll increase the quality of your life. Increase the number of business decisions you're making on a daily basis. You're going to increase the quality of your business to make more money.
Yep.
If you're not using AI to help you make these better decisions on a daily basis, that's where you're going to fall behind over the next 5 years. So what's the litmus test for 2026? If you're not doing this, make a commitment. It's a paradigm change. You're either going to decide like, okay, I'm going to put a CFO, a CMO, a CEO. Like I might be the CEO, but I'm going to surround myself with AI driven decision makers that are going to help me start to make decisions faster and better, because you're getting a higher quality either. Now, obviously, nothing's like I've gotten some answers that I'm like, all right, I disagree with this one. Like, okay, I'm not. This is not the direction I'm going to go, but it's not as often is where I feel they're nailing it, right? And it's because of the speed of decision. So, anyway, dude, this was great. I appreciate great, always great talk before Thanksgiving. Gonna get my stretchy pants out, and we're gonna feast. And then, man, I'm excited for Christmas too, man. I'm excited to hit Tahoe with
big trip to Tahoe.
Reese, the boys,
the Reese family, the Kinder family, the Stasic family, all gonna be on the mountain with our helmets on, protecting our noggins.
Yeah,
just don't die, man. You got one rule: just don't die.
That's it. I'm excited, brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for listening.
Yep.
Yep.
Appreciate you, brother.
Take care.
Yeah.